Today, what we want to get into is technology. We want to talk about the best software to use in real estate investing, how to find it, what you need to be looking at whenever you're putting this together. We work virtually. My business is 100% virtual. I haven't had a real in-person client meeting since like 2018. It's now 2020. So like we were built for quarantine. This is how we operate. But we work totally virtually. We work with clients all over the country, which means that we get people asking us questions all the time about what technology they should be using, whether they're landlords or house flippers, wholesalers, property managers, land investors, note investors, like all of these different strategies coming in and saying, Ben, how do I run a totally virtual machine that I don't have to be involved in? And I love this question. I think it's fantastic. I think there's absolutely opportunity to begin to really automate and drive as much possible, just totally get into it and make sure that we are as optimized as we can possibly be and really automate it as much as we can, so that when we decide to hire that first employee, that second employee, they can get the work done of 100 people as opposed to how we were getting work done 30 years ago, right? I think there's huge opportunity in that space, and that means that there's a really excellent opportunity to double down on technology right now and really build out your business. Now, listen, if you are sick and tired of keeping your books up to date, and this is a part that you're really struggling with, you're falling behind, struggling to get caught up before your loan or tax deadline, I want you to check out the link below where we really go through the secrets to scaling your finances, unlocking hundreds of thousands of dollars in your business in less than 5 minutes a day without having to change anything about your marketing and sales strategies. Number one on our list is do not use out-of-the-box one-stop software. Now, what I mean by this is if you're in a situation where you would really just like to buy one software one time and it solves all of your problems forever. And we hate this kind of solution. Not necessarily because that for any particular jealousy or why not use my software and systems? If it works for you, it works for you. Here's my fear with one-stop out-of-the-box software. It's that one, you probably don't know if it'll work for you very well. Very few people get into one software solution really knowing everything that they have going on. And we've seen a lot of people in a variety of different businesses get burned by dropping $2,000, $10,000, $100,000 on one out-of-the-box software that ended up being a huge pain in the neck, and they couldn't get out of and they couldn't get their money back. So please avoid that sort of system, because fundamentally what you'll discover with every software and with every company, and this is like a really driving point for us, is that most of these companies specialize in one thing. And when that entrepreneur got up and said, I want to make an app, they had one thing in mind. They had one pain that pushed them to make that decision. So when QuickBooks launched, QuickBooks' one pain was small businesses need help with their accounting. When Buildium launched, Buildium's one pain was property managers need help managing their tenants. Whatever that one pain is, that is the core feature of that software. And now when we look at tech giants like Buildium or QuickBooks, who also do things like, Buildium does accounting and it does management and it does reporting, and it also is trying to help with leasing and listing. And QuickBooks does accounting, but it also does bill pay and some marketing for accountants and payroll and this and that. What we find is that their primary skill set is where they're the strongest, and all these other bolt-ons, all the ands, is stuff that just begins to not be as strong as possible. And what we would much rather do is find other software that does that job best. So the number one tip that we have for software is do not use just out-of-the-box one-stop software that's supposed to solve all of your problems in one fell swoop, because I can almost guarantee that it won't. So while every business is different in what it needs, we do have some general rules that you should follow if you want to get the most out of your tech stack. We've put a bunch of links to our favorite apps below, and in all of our videos, really, I fundamentally believe in automation and using technology the best you can. Some of these tools that we use, we will get just the tiniest little affiliate fee from if you decide to use them, but all of them are integral to our tech stack right now. I cannot recommend them enough. Number 2 on our list is don't use hog software. This is a little bit in the same vein, but hear me out here. And this is a kind of a riff on this thought that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. I don't have a particular problem with Buildium or QuickBooks, but I think one of them is very clearly going to win in the long run over something else. Where QuickBooks is willing to not only do its own thing and bolt on a whole bunch of extra stuff that we may or may not want, QuickBooks is also willing and frankly able to either go out and purchase companies to make them integrate with their own software, like QuickBooks went out and purchased T-Sheets and made it part of the QuickBooks family, or they can say, hey, we don't want to buy you, but we do want to work with you, and they'll connect with all kinds of other softwares and systems, and that makes them really, really powerful, really useful, in that I can connect thousands of apps to QuickBooks Online based on what it is exactly my business needs. Meanwhile, in something like Buildium, while they do integrate with other apps, it's very limited. They're really not trying to scale into the app marketplace. It's more like they're trying to be very particular and kind of hog their sandbox, if you will. They don't want to share their toys. They've got their stuff. They've got their very tiny group of friends, and this is all they want to do. And if you want to play with them, this is what you're doing. And you have no options like this, you have to do it the Buildium way, or you don't use Buildium. And that's really where I think hog software is going to lose in the long run, right? Where they're just not going to be able to have the scale. I fundamentally believe that if Buildium would make a shift and connect to thousands of apps and integrations and connect and let its leasing and property management exist and then sync with QuickBooks, that would be unstoppable. I would love that forever. I just don't think that it's on the radar for them because they really like what they have and they don't want to jump through those hoops. So at the end of the day, when you're picking a software, I'm really picking on Buildium and QuickBooks right now, but fundamentally it's don't use hog software because I don't want to run my business how Buildium tells me to. I want to run my business how I want to. And that means that I have to use flexible and dynamic software that has to connect to everything. It has to play well with others. And those softwares are pigs in the long run. They will get fat. Number 3 on our list is don't make your team learn everything. And so in this, whether it's you and your first assistant or you and your bookkeeper or you and your spouse, whatever it is that you have going on, there's so many software and systems and solutions out there that you really can begin to leverage effectively. And where we see most people fail is that they're really, really, really hoping that whoever they've hired to do their data entry and their marketing is also going to be able to go into QuickBooks and update some stuff and go into their construction management software and update some stuff. And they're really leaning on this person to be a jack of all of these software trades when in fact they don't have to be. What we really like to do with our technology, especially if we pick technology that integrates with everything, is we like to make sure that we understand that this technology speaks with this. QuickBooks can talk with Tenant Cloud, which is what we really like to use for our leasing and for our property management if we can, especially solo operators. If QuickBooks and Tenant Cloud will speak to each other and say, hey, this tenant just paid rent, here you go, here's all the information you need, and QuickBooks can say, yeah, that sounds great. Now suddenly I don't need somebody to go into Tenant Cloud and update stuff and then go into QuickBooks and update stuff because the communication is already there and it already works. So what we really like to see is that when you bring in team members, that your team members are really good and their one role and the one thing that you hired them to do, and that thing is easily communicated to every other system and process in your business. So as you scale this out, don't expect your team to learn everything. Hire rock stars for the one section that you need them to be in, and make sure that your technology and your support system is designed in such a way that all that information gets communicated to each other and everything's just seamless. Number 4 on our list is do not skip the fundamentals. So this is really important to me because we see a lot of business owners, especially get into real estate, who have a primary skill set. We've got folks who were systems and processes in their past life, and that's what they do. And then we've got people who were sales and marketing in their past life, and that's what they do. And operations and construction and leasing and tenants, and that's what they do, right? And none of that's bad. We really like those people. We want those people. If you're the business owner and you fit one of those boxes, you're going to do one of two things, right? You're either going to be super excited about the technology that is similar to what you've used in the past, which is fine because that's your skill set. That's what you know. If you used to do marketing and then you find ListSource, you're going to love that. It's going to make total sense to you. You're going to know immediately how to leverage that. If you're a property manager and you used to use Buildium and now you're seeing Tenant Cloud and Cozy and Appfolio and all these other softwares, you're going to love that. That's going to make sense to you. The other thing that you're going to do, in addition to focusing on the things that you really love, is you're going to focus on the things that give you pain. And so, kind of same vein, if you hate marketing, you're really going to look for one solution, but it's going to really intimidate you. So you might pick something and then not use it, or you might avoid it entirely. We see this a lot with accounting. A lot of folks will double down on their operations and their marketing and ignore their accounting. And that's where the problem starts. So in this tip number 4, don't skip out on the fundamentals of your business departments. Every business needs a marketing department, a finance department, and an operations department. If you don't have those 3 fundamentals, those building blocks in your business, you will lose. Or somebody's going to have to come in and save you while you're busy winning over here and bleeding out over here. And like this happens all over the place. We see this anytime an entrepreneur talks about their business. We just want to make sure that you're set up for success. So don't skip the fundamentals. Make sure that you have a little bit of everything going. You've thought through all of your systems, that it all works. And then if it can all talk to each other so that your team doesn't have to learn everything, none of our softwares are hog softwares that we're sharing, we're integrating, and we're not really using an out-of-the-box software. We're using the best pieces for our business. You'll win in your tech stack every time. And all of this is possible. We've seen it scale up. It's fantastic when it works. We get the most leverage out of this as opposed to just buying something off the shelf and hoping it'll work. So listen, what do you think is the most helpful out of this list? What can we explain a little bit more? Where would you like to see us dive in and really discuss more stuff? We would love to pull apart any topics that you have. So please let us know down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out our notes below in the links for our mini books on bookkeeping for rentals, our free class, our case studies on how we do bookkeeping for real estate, and all of our favorite real estate tools. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.